What's up guys, Coach Hannon Fenrick here. Hope all is well. Today we're going to talk about formations in futsal and how they apply to the different situations and everything. Obviously this will be a general guide. It all depends on the squad that you have, the types of players, their characteristics, also your objective with that game, your team chemistry, all that kind of stuff, that the quality of the opponent and etc. So all that kind of stuff that actually interfere in the game. So stay tuned because there'll be plenty for you to watch and enjoy. So first things first, make sure you give thumbs up to this video and of course subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to activate the notifications so you always receive an email from us telling you that there's some new hot content coming up. Alright, so let's jump right into the content and start talking about futsal formations. I can't wait. So let's start with the 2-2. The 2-2, or the square like some people call it, is one of the oldest systems to be invented. So it basically provides you some sort of stability between defense and attack, having two players on the defensive half of the court and the other two in the attacking half of the court. So this normally is the ideal way for you to start with younger age groups, as it's easier to understand, but also on the other hand provides you with limited possibilities. It's important to remember that the 2-2 can be used at a higher level. Obviously, it won't be a standard way of playing. So in some moments of the game, you will see the 2-2 forming and then some attacking possibilities happening. But straight after that, they will become the other formation that they'll use to play. So it'll be a temporary solution using the 2-2, trying to create a goal scoring opportunity and then going back to whichever formation your team's playing. So let's take a quick look to see how they will configure on the court. Next up is the 2-1-1, which some people call it the pyramid, some people call it the upside down Y. But to put it simply, it's more like a small variation of the 2-2 formation, which can easily become a 3-1 depending on how your team's playing in your style. So basically, it's got the two defenders at the back, okay, and it's got a link in the middle that can sort of fluctuate from side to side, and it's got a defined pivot, defined attacking player up front. So that would be the 2-1-1 system. Let's take a look and see how it looks like. The next formation is actually, it can be considered two different ones, but the change between them is very, very small. So I'm actually going to include them together on this one, which is the 1-2-1, which can be called the diamond, and also the 3-1s, depending on how high the flankers are at the time that you're looking. It will characterize being one or another. So basically the 3-1 formation, or the 1-2-1 depending, is actually what we base on the names of the positions that the players occupy at certain times during the game. So for example, you have the goalkeeper obviously, and then you have your fixo, that anchor player at the back, the defender, with your two flankers right and left, and your pivot up front, your attacking player. But obviously this is all just as a general picture, because they're all going to occupy different spaces on the court. They're going to move very frequently, and one player will be the fixer at one point, and then he'll become the flanker, and then he'll become the pivot, depending on what the situation is presenting during the game. So that's the 3-1. The 3-1 usually provides maximum width and depth for your game, which can be seen as a very good thing in terms of creating the opportunities to progress and move forward into space towards the goal, and therefore creating a goal scoring opportunity. So clearly defined role for the attacking player, the pivot, clearly defined role for the fixer, whoever is doing that at that specific moment, and then the side players, the alas or the flankers, providing support to both attacking and defending players. So that's the 3-1, guys. It's important to remember also that these formations are only for you to have an initial point to see where that can take you from an attack against defense perspective. When you talk about transitions and special situations, it's a whole different story. And I'll put a link up here if you're interested in my exercises for transitions. So it's just 30 exercises for transitions in an ebook, all ready to go and save you a ton of time. I did it in collaboration with one of Brazil's top coaches, Daniel Junior from Jack Crona, and that plays in the Brazilian Futsal League. So back to the formations. So let's take a quick look to see how they will configure on the court. This next one is a little bit more risky, I'd say. It's also less common, and it's not for you to be using it for very long, let's put it that way. So we call it the 1-3. So that one player on the defensive side of the field has to be your best player, basically. So the player that can dribble the ball really well, that can distribute passes, that it's your leader there, that you can absolutely trust with your eyes closed. And then the other three players spread across the offensive half of the court and providing you with many situations. It's usually when you're losing the game and possibly running out of time that you can try that. So let's take a quick look to see how they will configure on the court. And finally, the 4-0 system, which we can say it's one of the most modern ones. Basically, the 4-0 consists on having 4 players almost in a line in the defensive half of the court. And so 2 will be more central and 2 will be wider. And these players must be equally capable to attack and defend. So the system itself, it can be pretty complex, and it works best in full international size courts with more advanced teams, and it requires a high level of concentration. So the biggest features and characteristics of the 4-0 we can say would be the exchange of passes, infiltrations, and obviously plenty of movement to attempt to confuse the opposition and create a goal scoring opportunity. So the idea is to use that empty space for players to explore and hopefully get a pass in a condition that they will be able to score a goal. So that's the 4-0. Let's take a look and see how it looks like. And finally, our last futsal formation today is the 1-2-2. Some call it the 3-2. If you want to give it a name, you can call it power play or the fifth man. So depending on where you are, you have different names for this. But basically it consists on having one player centralized in the defensive spot, like a fixo, and then the goalkeeper himself on one of the sides, another flanker, and then up top a flanker and a pivot. So this can change slightly depending on the structure that your team is using. Some teams will opt for using the goalkeeper deeper on the court, more advanced strategy like using him as or her as a pivot, or towards the corners wide open. So this obviously has to be well trained because it's also risky. I prefer obviously using this one than what I spoke before, the 1-3. That's just my personal opinion. And that, you can watch games of all kinds of different levels in UC, usually towards the end. Some teams are starting to use it more frequently during the game, but usually towards the end of the game, you'll see the power play, the 3-2 formation happening. So the reason that the goalkeeper is on the side, not in the middles, obviously because of the rules of the game that prevent the goalkeeper from receiving that ball back after he delivers the pass while he's on the defensive half. If, on the other hand, if he's on the attacking half, he can receive that pass and continue to play. He can play it back to his fixer, he can play a parallel pass to his teammate, he can use a diagonal straight to the pivot or whoever's occupying that middle spot. So the opportunities are many, and it's one of the most used strategies to date, especially for when a team is actually behind on the scoreboard and trying to get that goal quickly and come back into the game. So let's take a quick look to see how they will configure on the court. So to sum up, guys, you got to remember that futsal is fast and it's versatile and it's dynamic, and you got to keep in mind that these strategies and these formations have to be flexible, and you have to be ready to adapt during the course of the game as well. Obviously, you can and you actually should have different formations happening in different moments of the game. So it's all in order to create those fast movements, those quick combinations that will ultimately provide you with a goal scoring opportunity, the ability to progress into space towards the opponent's goal and capitalize on it. So that's what you got to remember when you're talking about futsal strategies. That's it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you find this useful, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe and activate notifications. If you can think of a friend, just hit that share button as well. It'll be really good so we can spread the message and bring more knowledge and share more knowledge with some of our futsal family spread across the globe. So, and don't forget to check out these two videos over here. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have an amazing day.